goddamn mess today.
Today.
No bullshit. No bullshit.
Hope we'll still breaking news. No,
No
more
more
bullshit.
bullshit.
No more
No more
bullshit.
No bullshit.
Oh. All right, look, everything is just fucked up today.
Super cool.
It's just fucked up. So listen, let me just real quick. We got, I've been trying to get this guy for, since we've been on. The Chief of Detroit Police Department, James E. Craig. Very excited about that. He's a mensch for doing. I'm doing good, sir. Let me take care of some commercials here. Karen's with me.
Hey, Chief.
Hey, Karen, how you doing, Karen?
I'm fine. How are
You know
sir?
Libtard Bob here?
Howdy, Chief.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I saw him several months back. We talked about coming on your show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're a busy man, and we're just rocking this. But let me just do this. American Coney Island is a proud sponsor of the No Bullshit News Hour. When you say American Coney Island, you say Detroit, right downtown of Michigan and Lafayette. Open 24 hours, 365, home of the original American Coney Island dogs, Vidalia onions, mustard, homemade chili. You won't get it anywhere else. Or you can simply go online, AmericanConeyIsland.com, and get a Coney kit delivered right to your door. Super Bowl time. Super Bowl. Luke Nowacki, Chief, you know something? Let me tell you about Luke Nowacki. I know you got a couple pensions. You've been around. Your career at the LAPD, Portland, Maine, Cincinnati, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan. You might be fine, but everybody out there, economy's slowing a little bit. Not sure what's happening. Government's running a big debt. If you're not among the elite who can make your pockets fat off the taxpayers' back, and you actually have to work for a living, you're going to have to provide for your family and theirs. If you have questions whether you're on the right track, call financial specialist Luke Nowacki. That's my guy. Ready for the number, Chief? 248-663-4748. Grow your assets from annuities to individual retirement accounts to college savings plan to good old stocks and bonds. Make the call now. Your politicians, not to mention your children, are depending on it. Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748. And remember, Royal Alliance Associates, Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and our marketing names, products, and services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates, Inc. Sorry about that, Chief. Had to do it.
Oh, no. I understand. You got bills to pay.
Oh, right on. Because we're going a little viral here with this show. I mean, we have Brenda Lawrence coming on saying she didn't support impeachment, and then Nancy Pelosi told her she had to support impeachment. We had Ronna McDaniel, Kevin Orr, Pete Carmanos last week. That went crazy. And you.
Kevin Orr came on.
He did. Did you hear it?
No, I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, he came on. He was actually pretty good. But let me just say this. He was real careful about what he was saying because when Kevin Orr talks, markets move. That's true, though, right?
Yeah, he's you know what, I got to tell you, working with him for the short time was really exciting. If we get into, just policing and what that looks like, especially when you're in a situation where, you're getting ready to go through bankruptcy, and the police chief directly reports to an emergency manager, there were a lot of things that I had to do in a very short time. And he told me, he said, look, I don't know policing, you do, so just hit the ground running. That was the charge. And so I knew there were a lot of things that needed to be done. Heavy lifting. And so we can talk about some of that if you like.
Yeah, we do that. Let's go back there for a second though. When let's just fucking go there. When you were coming, we had a phone call late at night, you and I.
We did.
Talking about, you were like, my name's James Craig, I'm from LA, we know some similar people. What's your take on things? And it was I was impressed by that. I really was. Like, you're not walking in here throwing your weight around, big belt buckle, big hat, that kind of thing.
Right.
And we did meet. We met on a couple occasions, and I gave you my impression. Now, I could play big shot journalist. You have to remove yourself from the situation, report the facts just as they are. But I'll tell the truth. Like, all I really want, and I think you know this about me no matter what, is I just want better for my community, your community, the people.
Exactly.
So I didn't mind doing that. But then, here was the thing. I quickly realized that if I just sat here and either did that, sort of laid at your feet, or just continually threw sand in your face, what good would that do? So what I did was got lost for a couple of years, went around the country. And now, we find me throwing sand in your face. So I don't mean it like that.
I understand.
But that's really, I got respect for you, but that's what I got to do.
And I understand it. And the people of Detroit, as I tell the men and women who do this very difficult job here, I remind them as often as I can that Detroiters deserve the same type of policing that where some of you live, whether it's Farmington Hills, Dearborn Heights, you have an expectation of policing, and I don't care what the economic stature of someone is, they deserve the same high level of policing excellence. And that's just the bottom line. And so, and sometimes that becomes, that's a big lift. And I can talk a little bit about it because when I got here in 2013, Charlie, you knew, no secret, there were a lot of broken things. And when you're an outsider, even though I'm from Detroit, I started my policing career here in Detroit, I left at some point and stayed gone well over 34 years. And it was from doing that 34-year time that I learned a lot, and there was a lot of things that I felt I could bring to the city. But the big lift coming in the door was the officers' pay. So, of course, their morale was at the rock bottom. And then the morale of the community, rock bottom. Response times exceeding more than any place in the country. Some of the police chiefs that were in and out of this place, one every year or year and a half. And so that doesn't promote stability. And then, not to mention, a 13-year consent judgment, and no one could figure out how to get out from under it. It took us a year when I got here, and it's not by accident. They were focusing on the wrong things, and candidly, what they focused on was beating up the cops. The people who do the tough work, they were beating them up. And they felt that, well, to be compliant with the consent decree, as long as we're writing the cops up, we'll be okay. Well, we weren't okay. And the missing piece of this whole puzzle was one thing: no accountability of the bosses, the managers, and the executives. And so if you start holding the bosses accountable, then suddenly magical things begin to happen.
But let's do this then. Might as well. There's so much there. Let's start with this. We went bankrupt, right, to provide better, basically, public service, safety. And you're talking about the pay. But when you, and I hope all the cops are out there listening because I know they listen, and shout out to Detroit Police, State Police, Pleasant Ridge Police, Hamtramck Police, the police. Love them. We don't have a society without them.
Yes.
But when you do the math and you include inflation, the cops today are making less in the city than they made in 2012, right?
Well, let me say it this way. I didn't do the math, and I trust your math. I'll say that, yes, Detroit police officers are still sorely underpaid. And while there have been several pay increases, I know 4 years ago they were at a ridiculously low, I want to say something like $29,000 a year, and now they're at, I think it's $42,000, which is better, but I'm not excited. But we're moving it in the right direction. Not when my last chief's job, where I was at in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is a great place to work, and their starting pay is $59,000.
So let me help you help us, okay? Sir, do your officers, your commanders, and everybody in between, do they need to be paid more?
Yes.
Boom. Then we shall advocate and continue to advocate for that instead of skyscrapers that aren't getting built, instead of hockey arenas that don't pay back into the system to pay police to keep. You don't hate me for that. That's the correct thing to do, is it not?
Well, I don't generally I try to avoid.
I know you do.
No, I do.
Don't. Help me
I
help you.
Well, I know, but let me just say this. Public safety, police officers, firefighters at the very top. I don't disagree with that. I think when you talk about, when you pay officers, and that was something that became a big reality in Cincinnati, because those officers, they weren't making $50,000, $59,000 starting pay when I was there. But I remember meeting with some top businessmen in the area. Procter & Gamble is headquartered there, American Financial, Kroger's. And so I'm in a room at P&G with all these CEOs. And they said, well, what can we do to support you? And I said, well, first of all, we need to pay these cops. I said, we can put the cops in the locations where development is going to start. However, we're going to have to pay for that. I mean, I can offer you secondary police services to walk footbeats in areas of development that have been high crime. They looked at me, they listened to me, and they agreed with me, and it happened.
Wait, it happened?
It did happen.
Oh, in Cincinnati. Cincinnati? What are we talking about Cincinnati for?
No,
you had me hopeful.
But Chief, Chief, if I can jump in here for a second.
No.
Under former Mayor Bing, he did go to the business community to make sure that we had new police vehicles, new, the ambulances, those EMS trucks or whatever. Has that, or why should that conversation happen again to be able to provide those resources? Because Charlie and I disagree on this all the time.
What do we disagree on?
We disagree on that you think that a lot of the challenges fall in the lap of the chief. I think it falls in the lap of the mayor in terms of not providing the resources, because public safety was not included as part of the grand bargain.
First of all, the chief is the deputy mayor, and he reports directly to the mayor.
Position,
I know, but look, it goes mayor then chief.
I understand, but if the mayor, if this is, and we don't need to argue this while the chief is here, because
yeah, we
do
do
this all the time. No, we don't, because you
yeah,
and I
we
do this.
do.
But it is up to the mayor, in my opinion, to make public safety a priority enough to allocate the resources so the chief has what he needs to make the city safe.
Right, Chief? That's why you're on. That's why I'm asking you. Should I start yelling at the mayor that the chief wants more money and resources?
No, let me just say this, and whether you agree or not, one thing the mayor has been committed to, as often as possible, the books get open, the union comes to the table, and pay raises are talked about. And that's been done twice already. And again, and I firmly believe it's going to happen again in the near future. Right now, the mayor is focused on firefighters. They haven't had their raise, and they're critically important to public safety as well. So it is happening, but the deficit that we're trying to make up. I mean, you remember
10% cut.
And Karen knows that when I came in, this was just before the bankruptcy, they took 10% of the police officers' pay away. And then forced, this is the most ridiculous thing I saw happen, they forced the hardest working men and women in America in policing, forced them on 12-hour shifts that they didn't want, took 10% of their pay, and then to the supervisors, they didn't force the supervisors on 12 hours.
Right.
But the street cop was being bullied and punished. They were angry. Now, and so one of the things that I did, the things that I could do, I said, I quickly went about the business of eliminating the forced 12-hour shifts, because that was a big deal with them. I mean, in L.A., the cops begged for a 12-hour workday. Here, which is a different a different place. I mean, these cops, the kind of work they do here, 12 hours is brutal, and it's not safe.
No. Wait,
And
say that again. It's not safe, is it? It's a really hard city.
It is a difficult city.
Is this the toughest city in America, as far as you've seen? And you're a world expert on this. Is this one of the toughest cities in America to police?
I would tell you, from my knowledge, in the places I've worked, yes, unequivocally. Now, the only other cities that would probably be close to the challenges, and I'm not even going to bring up Chicago, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Baltimore would be tough. I know New Orleans was tough after Katrina. You know, a bunch of cops exited the city. Those cops were low paid, but yet they still had to deal with the violence in that city. But I would go and say, toughest city, heck, if I was a chief in L.A., even though it's 4 times the size of Detroit, give or take a few thousand, you know, the bottom line is L.A. has 10,000 cops. But even per capita, that's still a low number of police officers deployed. But let's talk about Chicago, our neighbor. Chicago has 12,000 police officers.
Mm-hmm.
I get it's bigger than Detroit, but if we were to do it in a comparable way, if I had half of Chicago cops in a city that's, say, half the size of Chicago, if we're using that math, do you know what amazing things could get done?
Well, let's put it like this. The whole force total, command staff, street cops, guys out on injury, gals out on injury, is what, 2,500?
No, it's about 28 and some change.
That was pretty close. What, am I going to get a fake news here? Like, what are you, the New York Times? Like,
it's fake news.
I mean, it's close.
Accuracy matters.
I thought that was pretty, 28.
Accuracy matters.
20, I think we're at 29. I want to be precise on it, but when you talk about sworn and civilian, that's the number. And so...
No, not civilian. Sworn.
Oh, sworn. Yeah, we're more closer to 23, 50, 24.
Nailed it.
That's police officers sworn.
Wow.
Right.
But
now, so that's about a fourth of Chicago, which is 4 times bigger. And yet our crime rate, violent crime rate, is double Chicago. My point, sir, is...
So it's 2 ways to talk about crime.
We're special here. You know, I mean, first of all, this I would bet the footprint of Detroit is bigger than Chicago.
I can't. I don't know about that.
Right, but you can't. It's really hard. I've learned that since being here, and I did cover L.A. and you worked in L.A. and you know we talk about that. And damn, I missed the beach. But
yeah, me too.
I really do. But having said that, you can't really compare a Detroit to a Chicago or an L.A. or a New Orleans, because we are just a special place, very unique.
It's very unique, but let me break this out for you, Charlie, because I think this might put a little, because I know we were here to talk about gangs, and I think and I want to just digress to L.A. for one moment. So in the 90s, you know, the famous war on drugs, Crips Bloods, cocaine.
MA, MS-13, Rolling 60s, yeah.
Rolling 60s, Black Pea Stone. So the issue then, L.A. had 1,100 murders.
Yeah.
1,100 murders. During its height of the murders, it was roughly 1,100. So now you look at L.A., and its murder rate, you know, is roughly on par with ours, or fewer murders. In fact, last year, actually, I think they had 10, maybe 15 fewer murders.
Period.
Now, you're talking about...
Right, period.
Yeah.
So how many people in L.A.?
4 million.
4 million, and we had the same raw number of homicides in a city of 650,000.
Right. So
holy shit.
No, listen. And this is not me waving this flag of like, look at what we got. Our violence has trended down. When Detroit was at its height for murders during the same time period as L.A., we hovered, I think it was between 6, and I think the worst year it might have been almost as high as 800. But we had a much larger population then, and we had more economic opportunity then. So when you look at L.A. or you look at Chicago, crime in L.A., as you know, Charlie, centers in several primary key areas. They're the most poverty-stricken. We're talking about South L.A. We're talking about Hispanic pockets in L.A. And then when you look at those pockets, that's where the violence occurs.
Right.
You go to Chicago, it's South Side, and I think it's South and West Chicago. Those are the violent centers of Chicago. You look at Detroit, and we don't have small pockets. And so with 700, we'll just round it out to 700,000, our crime is spread out. Now, back years when I was here in the 70s, the crime was in very pocketed areas, much like Los Angeles. Heck, I remember on the west side, which is now where the 8th precinct is located, it was like a suburb. I'm talking about then we had 16 precincts, and that was the 16th precinct. That was a suburban precinct.
Right.
It was only 2 precincts that had horribly high crime. The one I was assigned to on the west side, the 10th precinct, and then on the east side, it was the 5th precinct. And so in those areas...
Is that you?
That's where I live. Yeah. That's where I grew up.
Oh, you grew up in the 10th precinct?
5th precinct on 48214.
Okay, 48214 in the 70s. We're talking, so you had the Purple Gang, I think it was called, on the east side, and then where I worked as a police officer in the late 70s, we had YBI, Young Boys Incorporated. Mm-hmm. And it was the most violent 4 or 5 square miles in the city of Detroit. Some would argue it was the 5th precinct, but very similar construct to what you see in L.A., what you see in all these other cities. But there is a direct correlation with poverty rate.
That's true. Well, let me just say this. When we had those 600 murders, right, we had 1.5 million people living here. And that is about 40 murders per 100,000 people. So that was back like 80s.
Right.
Today, last year, we had 273 murders in a town with 670,000 people. That is also 40 homicides per 100,000 people. So
Charlie,
the needle hasn't moved.
No, it has, and I wish I had those stats because I'm like you. I know when people talk about crime, it is about per capita, and when people write articles on the most dangerous city, they don't look at raw numbers. They just look at per capita crime, and I understand that, and I'm certainly not going to argue it.
That just gives you a level, though, right? Because we can do gobbledygook statistics and titles, but the fact is, people don't feel safe.
So, okay. So let me give you something that you may or may not like. So violent crime, say from 2015, was over. All violent crime, not just murder, 15,400 and some change.
Yeah.
In 2019, 12,900. So 16% reduction. No, would I like a much steeper reduction? Yes, but I think it's important that as we have this conversation about violence, that there's some other. Can you hear me?
Yes, fair, absolutely fair. You got to look at the trends.
You got to look at the trends, but here's another dynamic.
Well, before we go there, you can't use the year 2015 because that was the computer glitch. Too much reconfiguration was going on. Me, as a guy that studied stats, I would just throw 2015 out. I would take 2016. Okay,
so if we look at 2016, I'm looking at a chart.
Yeah.
Look at the crime in 2016. We were sitting at 46,900 as compared to last year, 41,248.
What are we talking about? Total crimes?
Yeah, that's total violent crime, only violent crimes. Part 1, well, yeah, actually all crimes. Part 1 crime.
Part 1 crime, so it can't be 41. You mean like 14,000 or something like that?
No, it's all crime in 2019. Total Part 1 crimes, I'm looking at the chart right now, is 41,248 as compared to the year you wanted was 46,248. 989.
Part 1, you mean rape, robbery, murder, and aggravated assault?
All of that, but also property crimes. It's everything.
Property crimes, okay. Or Part 1, I did not know that.
Is everything. The one thing, let me see. I'm looking at this chart.
You're okay. You don't. You're the chief. You don't got to do the numbers, right? Generally, just to relieve you. I don't want to trap you in a numbers game here. You understand what I'm saying, sir?
I understand that, but
okay.
I think it's important.
Please go ahead.
Let's talk about the exterior, the issues that impact crime. So, of course, when we think about crime, the first thing we think at, what's the police department doing or not doing? Of course, that's a valid concern. But here's something that we have going on here, and Ms. Prosecutor, forgive me, I'm going to say it.
Here's some news.
No, it's not.
You've said it before, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so, for example.
Wait. Let me rephrase it. I stepped all over you. I'm sorry, Miss Prosecutor, but.
And I'm not being critical, but what I'm saying. So let's talk about gun-related arrests, and maybe this is.
Wait. I'm sorry. Look. Go right there. Say it clearly. What are you going to say to the prosecutor, and then give me the background. Excuse me, my phone just went off. Okay, so what do you want to say to the prosecutor?
No, we got to make a comparison. I think this is important to say, and I think you know this. In Los Angeles, if you carry a gun illegally, there's a certainty that you will be charged, you will be prosecuted and charged with a felony.
Right.
There ain't no HIDA. It just doesn't exist.
HIDA is the Youth Deferment Act on your violent shit.
Right, and there's no plea down called attempt CCW. It doesn't exist in Los Angeles. So what does that do to someone who wants to carry a gun? They'll think about it, because if you carry a gun, you run a very strong risk that if you're caught by the police, you're going to be arrested and charged with a felony.
In L.A.?
In L.A. And I will tell you that certainty or high probability of prosecution does have an impact on someone's decision to carry a gun illegally.
So you're saying, come on, just say it now.
Well, I had to paint that picture to go here. With HIDA and plea down agreements like attempt CCW, those have an impact on a person's decision that I'm going to continue to carry the gun, and I'm going to carry the gun because I want to be safe. A lot of these young men that carry guns illegally, they carry them. They tell us, and they also say to our police officers, "Look, I carry a gun. What's the worst that's going to happen to me? What's going to happen?"
But look, let's stop right there for a second. They're carrying guns to keep themselves safe because they don't feel safe on the streets that you patrol. They know that if they go to the prosecutor's office that they're going to get plead down because they're overwhelmed with too many homicide cases, too many gun cases. The county jail is overwhelmed. It's a cesspool. It's filthy. We keep blowing money trying to build them. The state prison system's a mess. So if everybody did their job properly, right, there wouldn't be any room at the inn.
Yeah,
it's all broken.
I mean, I understand, there's a lot of conversation today about bail reform, putting more people out on the street. Charlie, and again, the prosecutors understaffed. Our prosecutors are underpaid, significantly.
So why are we giving billions to these white rich guys to do stuff that they're not doing?
Again, not my conversation.
Okay.
I'm focused on some of the problems with our criminal justice system. We got prosecutors that do wonderful work.
I want the money in your pocket, sir.
Yeah.
I want the money to go to where it's supposed to go, what they promised us when Kevin Orr hired you.
Right. So, as Karen so aptly put, I don't control the money.
I know you don't.
But I will say, in defense of our prosecutor, she's sorely understaffed. She can't keep prosecutors. So when you're paying a prosecutor $40,000 a year,
they're going to the suburbs, just like the police.
Guess what the prosecutor's getting paid out in L.A.? starting?
I'm going to guess. I'm going to say $92,000 plus generous bennies.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
How much does a top-paid LAPD police officer make right now?
Police officer, not a sergeant, not a captain, but an officer?
Officer in Los Angeles makes $100,000.
I was going to say no OT, 110.
Yep.
So, but why is this an issue? And it's not. I mean, because we talk all the time about education and crime being the two pillars of rebuilding a community. So we constantly hear the narrative, and I understand, Chief, I totally understand. Law enforcement cannot be totally responsible for the prevention of crime. There are socioeconomic factors that feed into that that I think enough organizations don't address because they make money from it.
But before you say that, I need to do this to Karen. That's true. You're right. But people say, hey, police can't stop crime, can't catch you from stop people from killing each other. I said, well, if that's the case, let's completely get rid of police and save a boatload of money.
No, Charles. Well, I'll let the chief do it.
I don't
agree with that either.
Think about the logic of what you're saying.
Oh, I understand the logic.
Chief, can police prevent crime?
We can certainly prevent it. We can play a key role. However, with backing, just echoing Karen's, there is a correlation with poverty.
Oh, goddamn yes.
There's a correlation with education.
Absolutely.
We have one of. I'm sorry, school superintendent, and I know there's.
It's calling everybody up.
He's got some of the same challenges that I, as a chief, but I don't know where we rank in the country right now. But direct correlation, education, and opportunity. So now things are moving in the right direction. When you talk about Chrysler's bringing new jobs, I'm excited about that. But
I'm not even sure about that.
Well, after we give them a bunch of money,
they pulled $400 million out of your pockets.
But they're saying now, well, we didn't get the Detroiters we wanted the first time. We're going to give you a second opportunity. That's not it, because even if changes are taking place in DPS-CD under Dr. Vitti, you've got generations of graduates, if you will, that have come through the system unprepared, undereducated, and unemployable. So those are the people that you have to deal with.
You said generations.
Yeah, generations, not just 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
That's also part of the problem.
And that's a direct impact on law enforcement. You know what?
Absolutely. Look, we know the problems. We can keep talking about the problems. Solutions would be, I'm sorry. And
I tell you, can I bring up another problem?
We need some money.
Well, money, but how about this? In impoverished areas, there are higher incidents of persons suffering from mental illness.
Yeah, they're in the Wayne County Jail. It's the biggest mental health facility in the state.
Thank you. And so you put them in there, they're untreated, they get out, and what happens next?
They go out and commit crimes and hurt themselves and others.
Absolutely.
Why, Chief? See, look what I'm trying to help. I'm sorry. But when I write a story, last week, and this thing, had its legs and it went around, that the Wayne County Jail has never in its history had a health inspection. And do the newspapers want to pick up on that? Does TV want to pick up on that? No. They want to do the Kwame thing. You know what I mean? We're not being serious. Nobody's listening. Did anybody consult you about how we're going to build the new jail?
Nobody had.
Nobody. The police chief. Nobody.
Charlie, people make money from people who are broken, from systems that are broken.
The chief has been around. The chief was talking about Chicago. I went to Chicago, Chief, to study how they built their new jail, which they did for a third of what we did on the original jail. And it's got a psychiatric ward. It's got a place for women. It dispenses drugs. It's clean, right? They brought in people from outside. We never brought the
What's our problem?
What is this? Chicago's in, what is it? It's not Clark County. Cook County. Cook County. We didn't bring people in from Cook County? We're so stupid here. Tell them, Chief, we're stupid here.
We'll never say that.
Okay, well, you know it.
But let me just say this. One other piece. Hey, I know this is that. You notice I can't use any profanity because I know you have a special type of your show.
I know.
So I'm not going to go there. But one other piece I think we talked about prosecution, but let me give you just one example. And you may remember the story was around August of last year. And I was very vocal about a local judge where this guy was a habitual offender, a propensity towards violence, and this judge let this violent predator out for $200. And the Michigan Department of Corrections said to the judge, this man should be remanded. He is dangerous. The judge ignored it. He let this violent suspect out, and guess what happened predictably?
What?
He shoots 3 people, including an 8-year-old child. And so that's another part of this failing system. And as much as I bring that up as a problem, I mean, judges have got to make their own judgments on individuals, and I get that. I mean, somebody with small amounts of drugs or no prior, I get it. Don't put them in jail. I don't care about that. But what I do care is when we have a habitual offender, a history of violence.
Yes.
Guess what? Let's do us a favor and remand that person, get them the treatment they may need for their mental health issues, but don't put them back in the community and think they're going to act like a Boy Scout.
Yes. Well, come on. I mean, again,
it's not going to happen.
There's just some bullshit going around, Chief. Like, hold on, Karen. Like, nonviolent offenders are in prison for weed. There's nobody left in the Michigan prison system who had weed. Maybe had 3 pounds with a gun on you, but those people have been flushed. We're not funding what we need funded. We're just not. I looked into your book, sir. I always add an interest. There's less money going to the Detroit Police Department than it was when Karen was in office. If this doesn't upset you, I don't know what to do. But the money that we all pay in the state of Michigan, we thought it was going to you. And to do some mumbo jumbo, like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to play the damn game with the politicians and the roads and the comeback and the budget. Bullshit. Get the chief the tools he needs to keep us all safe. I'm done grandstanding. That wasn't a question.
So I have a question. Is the city now billing companies, corporations downtown for police usage? Because once upon a time, that wasn't happening. We had police officers for special events, and that billing now taking place? And are they paying?
That's changed, and they are paying.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that's been very beneficial, I just met with and this is why I couldn't come to your studio, because I was meeting with some local businessmen who contract services of our secondary employment. And it was a good meeting, and it's also an opportunity for our police officers to supplement their incomes. And so this has grown substantially. And I think, Karen, when you were here, they were starting this secondary employment with just a few businesses. Now it's grown substantially. So that's good news for the police officers. And I'm reading Charlie's mind right now. He says, well, they shouldn't have to work second jobs and work these ungodly 16-hour days.
Bingo!
Right.
And it's not safe. In a perfect world, cops like the moonlight. Even those cops in L.A. who make all that money, some of them will do secondary jobs as well.
Yeah, like snitching the TMZ.
Wow, Charlie.
Nailed it.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Money.
But I would only assume that some officers may not do that for the money. Maybe because they like what they do. I find that most officers.
Excuse me. Wait. You're saying. Wait. You're saying that a cop likes to be a security guard at Myers.
No, I'm talking about in L.A. when the chief said that even though they're making a lot of money, that they want to moonlight. I'm saying maybe they just like what they do.
L.A. They like here, they want to make the extra money because they want more money. But one thing here, and I think Charlie hit on it, I don't think they're necessarily excited about going into a Myers. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to make some more money. In a perfect world, your salary would be enough. I mean, do you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Even in the 70s when I was here, Charlie, well-known fact, someone told me this recently, we were like the third or fourth highest police department in the nation. And we were at our height. We probably had roughly, I know when I was here, it was about 5,500 police officers. Who lays off 1,500 police officers in one swoop?
A broke-ass city.
Yeah, and it just, so.
Never recovered. Yeah. Now, look, before we do this, I need to know for myself, because it means, look, you know me, you know I lived through 9/11. You understand.
Right.
Where is the investigation in Corporal Rasheed McClain's death? The man that killed him, his name was known, right, to the department. It was known over a couple of jurisdictions. If we would have gone and picked him up and violated the guy on his parole, a couple people might be alive. Where are you with that?
We are still investigating. There are other dynamics with this case. First of all, there is an investigation.
Yeah, but where are we? Give us something.
I can't give you a solid timeline on.
No, just give me a general. What is it? Are you near the end of the investigation? Are you angry that everybody dropped the ball, or somebody dropped the ball, or there's a culture that people aren't being responsive to this kind of violence? What can we look forward to?
So, I'm angry about certain aspects, and certainly, let me just say this: relative to McClain. McClain died a hero.
Yes.
McClain made a decision to go in and address a threat to our community.
I don't think people realize that there was a woman in a wheelchair still in that house. Is that correct?
I've not heard that. I've never heard that, Charlie.
That's what I was told by the neighbors. Why don't you ask about that? Because maybe that's why.
I'm going to ask, but I got to tell you, that would be critical if that's the case, and they withheld that from me. That I have never heard.
I don't know if anybody was withholding. I could be wrong. That's why, I'm not reporting it. I haven't written it. But
I'm going to tell you, I've never heard that. One of the big things that certainly that came out was the sergeant that never showed to the epicenter of this horrible, tragic situation.
The alleged chicken shit, the supervisor who hit around the block and did not show up till after the fact, right?
Did not. And I will tell you, that's a problem. But I don't want to...
But I want to back up. Again, that's a huge problem. You've handled it. We've talked about the signature, how he got, formerly he had some cowardly issues. You wanted him gone. The union intervenes. He gets back on. Somebody forges his signature. That's true. I've seen the signature. Have you found out who's done that?
Have not.
Okay. Let me put that aside then, because 100% I believe that to be true.
Right.
But the people in that house was shot up a couple weeks before Rasheed was killed. They actually came to, the 12th, walked in, gave the guy his name, and nobody went and picked him up. That's what bothers me. Then he's wanted crosstown in another shooting, and nobody goes and picks him up. And then 2 days after that other shooting, he kills a hero, and he shoots another cop and destroys his shin. I love those guys, and I'll say it. I love you too. I know you're doing the best you can, but something happened where the morale wasn't high or something. Why wasn't he picked up?
Let me see if I can explain this in a way without. It would be unfair to start pointing a finger.
Indicting people, I get it. Yes,
but I will tell you something that I dealt with when I first got here, and I deal with it now. And I know you and I talked offline about a possible second show to deal with corruption. And you ask yourself, how does corruption happen? It's called complacency and mediocrity. Complacency and mediocrity. Now, I will tell you, not reflective of the vast majority of the men and women of this department who really put a maximum effort in every day.
Let me get that. Let me get that ordered. So what you're saying was, look, I know you're not speaking in code. You're speaking clearly. I want people to hear what you said. I'm not talking about my department as a whole. What happened here was the corruption of mediocrity and complacency amongst a few?
I would have not necessarily. There is one part. Now, this can't because this investigation is open. I'm talking in a more general sense. When you see what we did and raided our own narcotics unit, we did it. No outsider came in and raided our narcotics unit. We did it. And again, if I could point to one thing again, complacency and mediocrity breeds corruption.
Okay, hold on now. Because that's right. The homicide squad got blown up from inside. I'll give you that. With feds helped you go do the raid and stuff, but you're working on your own info. And yet the feds are the ones that discovered the cocaine missing by the time it got to Chicago. So there's I'm not saying you're trying, but the thing is, 4 years earlier, the same thing happened, and you blew up the squad. Only to find out 4 years later, it's the same goddamn culture. So when I'm on your ass, right. Because the buck stops with you. And Karen says it stops with the mayor. And that's absolutely true. Except I know you can't be the guy who's, going and making sure they've actually changed the stuff. You've got guys below you telling you that it's changed.
Well, let me, because this is a very, and we're still pursuing it vigorously. Here's the difference between the 4 year ago investigation and what happened in recent times, causing me to raid our own narcotics unit. So 4 years ago, the feds come in. Actually, before I got here, they started and launched an investigation on the narcotics unit back in 2009. We believe that even before that time, there was a pattern and practice of corrupt activity. However, the investigation went 4 years, and at the culmination of the federal investigation, 2 people got indicted, 1 person got charged. Unfortunately, because it was isolated as an FBI investigation, we only dealt with those 3 or 4. 1 committed suicide. He was going to be indicted as well.
That was back into the 14.
Yeah, 14. That was investigation. It started in 09, ended in 14. So all of the issues that created this Hansberry situation, we didn't know. And we didn't know because the way, and I know I'm getting a little technical, the bifurcation of the federal criminal investigation with the administrative investigation didn't happen. It wasn't.
Okay, let me do this because it is getting technical. What are you saying? So 14 was 14, but what happened? Look, 14 guys went to prison. You blew it up. You renamed it. It's, major violators. You changed the commanders. In fact, you promoted the commanders. Some of them became your deputy chiefs, which is weird. But you thought, I'm hoping you thought it was fixed.
And I did think it was fixed until, let me fast forward up to Officer Mosley, who was charged and indicted by the FBI. A single incident involving bribing a drug dealer. Single incident.
This means in last year's, in 2019 scandal. Right.
2019.
Officer Mosley actually was going to give the dope dealer his own confession back for $15,000, right?
Or whatever, yeah.
That's pretty novel.
Yeah, it's pretty novel. So anyway, single incident, single arrest. And so in my conversations with the Fed, and what I started to learn about that single case, I said, you know what? This is not this guy's first rodeo. In fact, instinctively, I know it's not. And so as he was getting ready to get charged, I directed our internal affairs. I said, before it comes out that he's getting charged, let's go ahead and raid narcotics, take every file going back 10 years.
Right.
And so, because I didn't feel comfortable, I knew, but at the same time, what we didn't have.
I get what you're saying. Let me see if this is what you're saying. Okay, we've been through this before. You're like, I'm seeing it. Okay, bullshit. Go in there and go take everything this time. Is that what you're saying?
That's part of it, but we had something else. The stars began to line up, Charlie. So I followed my hunch that this wasn't this guy's first rodeo. And then secondly, we started getting some information about certain practices. Right. So in order to verify if these practices were real, the only way I could do it, and given what Mosley was charged with, let's just take everything and open a full-blown probe. And so, as you heard me report out, I guess been maybe a month or so ago, there's been some key issues, and as my hunch followed, there's some activity.
It proved true. You're saying that there's a lot of it, right? Just real concise, Karen. There's a lot of it. Yes?
Yes.
There's a lot of bad shit that was going on in there. Karen,
right.
Please.
No, I was going to say, I certainly in any environment, I guess I'm sitting here thinking about clients that I work with. I don't care how much you try to put something in place. You're going to always have those one or two bad issues.
Yeah.
I think the problem comes if, in fact, those issues aren't addressed. I mean, so then you start to send the message. Your responsiveness to that or your response to that makes a difference. And I don't want to incriminate anybody. But, Charlie, you and I have talked about the narcotics division years ago from somebody who's still floating around. So, these are issues that have prevailed. I mean, if nothing else, we do have to acknowledge the fact that the chief is responding to them.
But you know what? And thank you for saying that, because here's what's real key in this thing right now. So, Charlie, imagine for a minute that you got a drug dealer who's out peddling, name the drug. He gets stopped by the police with large quantity of dope. And the cop says, okay, I got you. How about you work this case off? Give us information on other drug houses, drug dealers. You work it off. We'll pay you X dollars for your work. And that drug dealer never gets arrested. So now the drug dealer said, wait a minute, I think you just ripped me off. That drug dealer then says, well, who am I going to tell? Am I going to go into a police station and says, hey, Chief, I'm a drug dealer. I move large quantity of dope. They just ripped me off, your dope officers, and took some of my money. I didn't go to jail. I probably should have gone to jail, but I didn't go.
And that's, look, because we got to start wrapping up and get to one more thing, but that's what you found.
Exactly.
Holy shit. God.
So, but
see, when you pay guys, look, some guys are just crooked, right? And if you pay the police force like they're the Mexican federales, you're going to get the Mexican federales, and this whole culture is going to flip, Chief, but you and I probably won't even be alive to see it. So right now, we got to stop it. Well, and I'm not indicting the Detroit Police Department because I know those people.
Yeah, please don't.
They're good. No, look, I know cops.
Right.
I did New York, L.A., El Paso, Vegas. They're good cops.
As Karen pointed out, all it takes is a few bad apples. But also, as I said earlier in this segment, this part of it, I also talked explicitly about mediocrity being a primary factor in people engaging in corrupt activity, whether it's this level of corruption or someone who decides not to do a follow-up concerning a violent criminal.
Mediocrity. I need that to hang. Mediocrity. It's it's a corrupt act.
It leads to corruption. And I don't care what, I was part of the investigative aftermath of the Rampart corruption, as you probably are familiar with. And guess what? No different.
No, Rampart was a division in the LAPD, undercover guys working the dope. They go in, bust doors open, shoot guys dead, steal their dope.
And guess what? Mediocrity. Supervision, not paying attention, not caring to pay attention, and just not managing and setting the appropriate tone.
Boom. Okay, listen, crime. Karen, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say two things. One, I want everybody to understand, and we've said this before, that police officers don't pay into Social Security. So when you start thinking about I just think that one factor.
Absolutely.
And before the chief leaves, Charlie, I don't want to have the last word, but Chief, if you had carte blanche and you could make 3 changes to the department, or
3?
Just 3, because I just want to ask him 3. Could I ask my question, Charlie?
3? Okay, yeah.
Okay, how many do you want it to be?
1.
I want 3. Let him have 3. He's entitled to 3.
3.
You get 3 wishes, Chief.
3
that
wishes.
that would make the biggest impact on public safety, not just for the community, but for your officers. What 3 things would you do if you just had a clean slate and a blank check? What would you do?
The first thing I would do, and it would really address so many issues, I would want our police officers to have a starting pay. I'll be conservative. I say what Cincinnati makes. Cincinnati cops don't work to the level of the Detroit police officers, but I think starting them at $60,000 a year, and we got to take cost of living.
Okay, Chief is calling for a 33% pay
I say
boost.
75. Let's give
Well,
him a
let's
little
no, we're making fun of it. He's
We're
right.
not making fun of it, Charlie.
75%.
Not 75%, 75,000.
Okay, so
$60,000.
that's pretty good though. Like he's calling for a 33% pay raise. Second,
Okay.
Chief.
But wait. Let me just back up for a minute. Calling for this is me.
Okay, wishing for. Yeah, Chief's wish list.
Is that realistic at this time? I don't think it's realistic. But if I had a wish, I could wave a wand.
Right.
If you wanted one big thing, what would you want first?
Pay.
Then the first thing would be that pay level I'm talking about, and that's starting pay.
Okay.
It might top out. If you're talking about $59,000, it might top out at 75 or whatever. I don't know. But the key is, I think that will go a long way in addressing a lot. But I'm talking unrealistic.
Okay, now second is
Well, I would say equipment. I mean, we've done well, and Karen, you know this. You touched on it at the beginning. The mayor did facilitate. Mayor Bing facilitated the Penske cars. That was really a great start. But I'll tell you, the fleet outside of those cars that we did get was a comedy show. I'm talking about cars that I would go across and paint was peeling off of them. This is the Motor City.
I want to see them all look alike, Chief. We got 50 million brands of police cars. I mean,
right now, but right now, I mean, the primary cruiser today, and this is coming from the cops, and actually most of the cities across America are those Ford Explorers. They're large enough. The officers love them because when the Crown Victoria, when they stopped making that car, it wasn't a lot of great choices out there. So the thing that came so close to the Crown Victoria was that. So certainly
equipment, radios, vests, crews, everything. What's the third?
Then I guess along those lines, if we want to say what's the optimal staffing level in Detroit. And I know I get this question a lot, but I think in a city our size, and I'll be conservative, but again, I'm waving a magic wand, and I'm going to say this with an asterisk with it.
Okay.
3,500 police officers.
3,500. So we need 1,000 more cops.
With that pay level, this is me wishing again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wishing upon a star. But at the end of the day...
That's not a strategy, Chief.
But it's a song.
But this is a level of stuff. So he needs 1,000 more cops.
You gotta have something to shoot for.
Realistic.
But look, so Charlie, so when we look at...
Basically, you need more money. That's all I've been saying, Chief.
But see, here's the other challenge today. To retain cops that have a force that size, you've got to pay people top dollar.
Look,
And make them feel safe, too. I mean, you got police
need more
officers
money.
that don't want to live in the city because they know the city isn't safe.
Do you see what was in the news? Like, by the way, ready? Bob, give me the telegraph. I already just did it. Never mind. Breaking news, Chief. As first reported on the No Bullshit News Hour, the Gilbert Hudson skyscraper is not going to be the tallest. In fact, we still don't have plans. So, as we...
Might not even be built.
Yeah, and they still don't have the financing in place, as we reported. So now here we go. Here's the thing about that, Chief. Part of that whole deal was cash money. Cash money that we pay for over 35 years. $16.5 million a year on that cash check. That should have been money for public safety. That's all I'm saying. My last question is, what is the deal between you and Karen? Like, are you guys friends? Are you a client of Karen's?
Listen, no. Let me say that.
Wait, this is no bullshit. Is he a client of yours?
No.
You're actually like friends?
I like the chief from the time
like
that he
the chief.
got here. I have the first of all. Let me answer first, Chief. I like the chief. I liked him when he came in. I have the utmost respect for our police department, our law enforcement officers. My brother retired.
Would you marry him?
The chief?
Yeah, if you weren't married.
I think I'm too old for him.
Oh, damn.
Oh, you're not too old.
But
Karen.
I consider the chief a friend, and I support him 200% as I do our men and women in blue in the city of Detroit.
All right, Chief.
Right
and what do you say about that?
I know our police officers truly appreciate that, and I'll say this to you, Charlie. I know that there are a lot of police officers that support you. They know you genuinely care.
I really do.
Participate in a lot of fundraising activities. When a cop makes the ultimate sacrifice, they know that you're there to support, not always in front, but sometimes in the backdrop. You're not looking for accolades, but I know there are many of our men and women here love you.
Thank you. And some hate me, I know, but that's the way life goes.
But Chief, he asked you your opinion about me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting here like, what about me?
Oh, he's all sweet. He's probably
about a little love your way.
Like, what
about Karen?
What about chopped liver?
Go ahead.
Hey, Karen, now I'm going to shift back over to you because I have never, in my 6.5 years here, I have never heard a police officer utter one negative word. And trust me, these police officers...
No, you're doing it. You're doing it again. You're very closed. You're emotionally...
You're sending the wrong
signals.
You're
an emotional crab. Come on. Open up a little bit. Open up. Say, how do you feel about Karen?
I mean, I think she's a wonderful person. I do.
You do? You sound like I accused that you didn't think that. You kind of sweet at it.
Stop, Charlie. No. But I do. But Charlie made me bring your Christmas present in. I had to threaten him to not tell you what it was.
Oh, so you're going to love it.
I told him not to snitch.
Oh, really?
Your Christmas present.
Don't snitch to the cops, Charlie.
What did you say earlier, Bob?
Snitches get stitches.
That's right, bitches.
Right.
You want me to tell you?
No.
You know who else, Charlie? You know who else I really admire, and I know cops admire our friend over at American Coney Island.
Grace
is the best of the best of the best.
Huh?
I would tell you that issue that happened over at American Coney Island with that security guard.
My buddy, the Marine veteran from Iraq and Afghanistan who never got a scratch on him until he came to Detroit and took a knife in the chest. Yeah.
Horrible situation. But let me just say this. When he met the police officer who administered some aid to him, got him to the hospital very quickly, it was one of the most touching stories. I mean, there's a lot that I've seen in my time.
Oh, he was crying. The dude was crying.
And she was crying.
Chad is his name.
Oh, what a wonderful... it's too bad that happened. But at the end of the day, there's two people that will probably be friends for life.
That's true. That is the life in the big city.
Listen, I still feel left out. But okay.
We got to do that because you still didn't say much about you.
Still feel left out.
There's something going on.
Karen, we love you.
No, I think, and I'm sorry, Chief. I'm going to do this one. Karen, I think Jimmy's sweet on you.
No, don't start any crap, Charlie. Listen, I get
saddled. What'd you say, Chief?
I think part of it was that Charlie dominated the show.
It's my show.
It's his show. I'm just here for decoration.
No. You do a wonderful job. I mean, you do. Hey,
what?
You let it rip 3 times a month.
Yeah, I know. Look at her. And it's still not your show either.
Yeah, I'm just there for decoration.
Oh, my God.
Oh God. So
All right,
anyway.
Chief. Listen, we didn't get to come back. Would you come back on?
Yeah, I'll come back. 'Cause there's a lot of. I know we could have focused a little bit more on the gang.
Like the stuff we're going to talk about, like
The
gang,
weed, the black market weed,
black
which
market
I-
weed,
yeah.
making crime go up. The gang warfare made the homicide spike, but that.
Oh yeah.
The green lights. I want to know how that's working.
Yeah. So listen, you'll come back soon, like a month or two.
Yeah. let's
And come
do
to
that.
the lower level, Chief. It's okay.
Yeah, this time you come in, all right?
I got
Okay,
your back.
And
It's all
listen,
good.
what do you drink?
How about some Perrier water?
No, I mean be for real. Do you drink vodka?
Okay,
I drink
okay.
whiskey.
Well, okay.
We're big
I'm
fans of whiskey at this show, Chief.
No, they are.
I'm not going to drink on duty.
No, you're gonna take a half a day off.
Oh, if I'm off.
You're gonna take a half a day off.
Take the bottle home.
So people
Charlie.
don't accuse you of I mean, you're doing media on the you know how it goes.
Yeah.
You just take a half a day.
Yeah, Charlie, you know
Well-
how it goes.
Yeah,
That was fun.
we're gonna film it all.
But I
That's
enjoyed
it.
this. And, oh, by the way, one of the things I'm trying to launch, and we've talked extensively about it, we're going to start doing podcasts as
Oh
well.
God! Everybody's doing.
Everybody's got a goddamn podcast.
Invite us on, Chief.
Oh my God!
Consider it done. In fact, Karen, you might be one of our first. I'm watching you right now in the basement.
It's a lower level, Chief.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. I would never be
It's
caught.
called a
I would
garden
never-
mezzanine.
I would never be caught in a basement.
What's that hat Charlie got on? Is that an LA hat, Charlie?
L.A. hat?
Yeah,
Where?
the one that's on your head.
He doesn't have on a hat.
No, this is my hat, Chief. Here, watch this. Here.
What are you looking at, Chief?
That's my hat, Chief.
That's the wrong.
That's beaver, 100% beaver.
Oh, that's a beaver hat.
Because my people were here way before any European ever got off a boat. This is my land. Aho. Okay.
Well, I tell you, I
Miigwech.
enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the show.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Chief.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Okay.
be safe. Take care.
Talk soon. I will. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Yep.
Listen, everybody, if you're paying more than 4% on your mortgage, if you have a lingering high interest rate on your credit card debt, you may or may not know that right now rates are within fractions of a percentage point of their lows of the last 40 years. Smart idea would be to call the company with over 1,000 five-star reviews that has recently been averaging 10 days from start to finish on listeners that have applied for a refinance on their mortgage, and that's all financial. It's a real simple process, folks, and it's no secret that saving money is a good thing. You can get started by calling 248-308-5000 or going to davidhallmortgage.com. That's 248-308-5000. Get moving. Get it on. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1467435. By the way, again, shout out to the Hamtramck Police, West Bloomfield Police,
Detroit police.
Imlay City Police, Sanilac County Sheriff,
I don't go that far.
NYPD, Tribal Police in
I know
Sault
my
Ste. Marie,
limits.
right?
White leg, please.
Right? Listen, how you succeed is measured by the bottom line. Whether it's government or private industry or your police department, you're measured by results. Get the job done right. On time, on budget. Call ADR Consultants at 248-318-9424. Don't wait for after the fact accounting. Get yourself some experienced advice. ADR overseeing more than $250 million in public and private construction projects since 2001, plus experts in procurement, government compliance, information technology, and property management. Go with ADR for your company, municipality, or law enforcement agency. Honest, ethical, smart. Call Barry Ellen Tuck, 248-318-9424 for that consultation. Are you mad at me, Karen?
No, I just feel left out.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like, I guess I'm not a horn tooter, but I've done a lot of stuff when officers have gotten in trouble kind of quietly, gotten resources to help them out and that. I just, hey, I want to be like Charlie.
Right.
I need a beaver hat.
Get some props.
I just need a hat.
Right. Oh, you get that? Were you making a funny there?
No,
You said, I don't need a beaver hat. I just need a hat.
I didn't say that. I just said I need a hat. Never mind. This was a great interview, Charlie, and we do certainly appreciate the chief, making himself available because it does add clarity to the conversations that we have. But in my opinion, it still falls at the top. the mayor needs to make crime and our law enforcement professionals a priority. And it has not been since the transition. So don't tell me that a city is coming back when our law enforcement officials and officers do not feel safe enough to live in the same city that they are charged with protecting. Give them the resources, give them the equipment, give them the money, and then let's start holding the 77,000 nonprofit organizations accountable to deal with some of the social contributing factors to crime.
Right on.
Damn. Absolutely. There you go.
So do I get my hat?
Try my hat. Here, see, see how that looks. It's clean. I keep it clean. You can actually wear that in the shower. The thing about beaver fur felt, looks good.
Oh, that looks good, Karen.
Dude. That looks
That's a good
really
look.
Good. The reason Detroit is even here is because of the beaver. Okay? Beaver is completely water repellent.
Sure.
And the courtiers in Europe wore it. And it was so popular that it went extinct.
Wow.
So when they were looking for gold in, like, Mexico and Sierra Nevada,
They were looking for beavers here.
beaver was the deal here, right? It was as good as gold.
And we had a lot of them.
We did. And then the last beaver, Cadillac came in 1701 to start Fort Pontchartrain to stop the English from coming up and stealing the French's beaver grounds.
Jeez.
And the last beaver was spotted in the Detroit River in 1934.
Wow.
We were so rich that we polluted the beaver out, killed it off, went extinct. Things went so retrograde that, when was it? In 2008, 2009, beavers were spotted in the Detroit River again.
They were reintroduced.
We went bankrupt.
Jeez.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And so what are we left with? Everybody's fudging around with numbers, making excuses. Gretchen Whitmer. Did you see this Gretchen Whitmer?
I was not. First of all, it was the shortest speech ever.
The state of the state.
I'm
A
for that.
third of it was applause. Another third were semantics and just pomp and circumstance. And I left, and I'm very disappointed because I expected her to not follow the pattern set by Jennifer Granholm. I really expected more from her.
So you're talking about we're going to borrow $3.5 billion to some temporary road fixes?
And you know what? I saw them out patching up some of the. Now that doesn't make any sense, Charlie. And some
Why?
of the state reps last night were saying that all we're going to do is patch them up, and in 2 years, because we're not going to do it the right way, we're going to have to turn around and do it again.
So we're going to borrow 3.5, and that money only qualifies for 10% of the roads in the state.
And only state roads.
And isn't that counter to what was first proposed?
I mean, it's no solution, but what she's saying, we got to get going. I find it to be a selfish idea that it's only for her, and it makes it look like a win, and she's tough. Because here's the deal. Ready?
She even said as much.
Here's the deal. Did she really?
She said, yeah, you can thank this administration for fixing the damn roads.
You're not fixing shit.
Well, right.
I'm not fooled because
But she was taking credit for it.
Here's the deal. The Republicans put $400 million into the budget to help start fixing the damn roads. It's not enough, and they're chicken shits too. Let's not get that wrong. They're all bullshit up there. We're all pissed. But she vetoed it out of spite, not good enough, and then she starts cutting everything. Here's the deal with $3.5 billion that you borrow over 30 years. If you divide $3.5 billion by 30 years, it's $165 million a year. You just shot yourself in the face, right? Ostensibly, they could have funded shit $400 million a year for 30 years, I guess. So you just shot yourself in the face, plus the fact you got to pay interest.
Yeah.
So we're going to get $160 million worth of roads. That's going to cost us $320 million to pay for. And we fucking borrowed it and didn't figure anything out. I'm calling you out, Governor. Horse shit. You didn't fix it. And I don't think it's going to work. And I think the National Democrats are fools.
Point of clarity, Charlie. She's talking.
I'm not a Republican.
She's talking. I'd say you were.
Well, the point of clarity was they're going to have her do the State of the Union rebuttal.
No.
And we in Michigan are just so happy to be there that we don't know our governor's ineffectual.
No, I wanted you to clarify in terms of, because when people hear roads, we're going to fix the roads. She's talking about the highways. clarity
Like
in
Woodward.
terms of in terms. Is she?
I don't even know which ones they are.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out who's responsible for what, because the roads in the streets in Detroit, and I know you talked about the streets they are trash.
Yes.
They are absolute trash. It's like you've got to. It's
And
like
those are city streets.
These are city streets,
Yeah.
and so I'm going to just ask everybody, please stop tailgating, because you can't see the pothole in front of the person. Give them time to respond accordingly, because the roads are horrible. So whether it's Mike Duggan, whether it's Warren Evans, whether it's Gretchen Whitmer, or whoever, or Donald Trump, because he took credit for everything,
Yes, ma'am.
please somebody fix the damn
Or
road.
Gary freaking Peters or Debbie Stabile. That's a federal issue. You all
Anybody.
do nothing. You know what I'm sick of? I got this TV on down here tuned to the trial.
33 days.
Nobody's even paying attention to it. Yes, it's important. I'm not diminishing that. But it's so process laden and so phony.
That's what I said.
And I know. Thank you. You know, I'm just following the narrative, Karen. Down here in the lower level. Come on.
I know. I can't. I don't want. I don't.
Here's another one.
All right.
The statute of limitations for the Flint water poisoning are about 10 weeks away.
Really?
Jeez.
Right? Remember, it was April in 2014. Statute of limitations runs out to 6 years. Now, I know legal cases can be made. Well, you know, technically, the contract wasn't signed, say, June, blah, 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 blah. But that's a very big day. You got 10 weeks, Ms. Nessel, the Attorney General. You blew it up. You promised.
Get something done.
Why
Get
isn't
something.
Snyder in jail?
I don't know.
And somebody
question.
asked me, how did Bafacano get around? Somebody said Charlie LeDuff did everything but escort him to the jailhouse.
And how is he not in jail?
I mean, and it came up as part of the conversation about
and
the.
yet
Peter
Kwame's
Carmi-
in jail for 28
exactly.
years.
I mean, you've got all these other, and I'm not. All I'm saying is that if in fact that is the norm, it ought to be equally and fairly applied.
That's what I've always said. Okay.
Following the narrative.
There you go. We did it 3 times. Ding, ding, ding. 3 narratives in one show.
Awesome.
You all right, Joey? So he was a little upset.
No,
earlier.
he doesn't feel well.
Oh, yeah. You got the flu?
No, we're going to talk about it. He just doesn't feel well.
Were you hanging out with the guys from the narcotics line, if you know what I mean?
No, he does, you know he's a
He was
super
not
healthy
hanging
guy.
out with the narcotics
No.
squad.
Here, Mike Duggan. Yeah, listen. Run again.
He said he was.
I just might have to.
There
Interesting.
you go.
Interesting.
Can I be chief of staff?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm thinking about the chief when he said he doesn't accept mediocrity. Look what happened to me when I said it wasn't going to be accepted. It's hard to do.
Having said that, hey, Mike, you know and I know, everybody, you should know. Yeah, the feds were here again last week asking the dirt questions that the congressperson's asking about, that the grand jury's asking about. They were back. One of the biggest demo firms just closed their doors. They're active, and not a single fucking demolition is going on in this city. Something very weird's happening, bro. I know it, you know it, and I think you know. I know what's going on in your office. That's why the No Bullshit News Hour, they're breaking all kinds of freaking news. Skyscraper news, demo news, police news.
Charlie News. Beaver,
History lesson.
Beaver News.
Beaver News.
Well, no, because I'm very, the reason I'm trying to, groping for a segue. It's this punk from the Free Press, right? The op-ed writer, the columnist, Brian Dickerson.
I didn't know he was still writing. I didn't know he was still around.
There you go. People are
No, I
like,
did not know. I didn't know he was still around.
no, yeah, he's.
I didn't know the Free Press was still around. There,
What,
I
you
said
don't
it.
get gas?
I don't go inside. I try
Hey,
to keep inside.
look, I've always been cool, and there's cool people work their heart and talented people.
All right,
So
Nancy
fuck
Stafford.
you, man. I never called you out. So the Carmanos interview last week, that one went viral. The Brenda Lawrence calling for censure not impeach, that went viral. Kevin Orr, huh?
Dave Bean, that one went. That was
A
another
lot.
huge one. Yeah, you got a lot of good ones, Charlie. Us, yeah.
The head of the Republican National Committee, the chief of police. There's only a couple people dodging. Anyway, so this blowhard,
Hoo-hoo-hoo.
right, calls me a clown in the paper out loud.
Nice.
But the thing is, because nobody reads him, he's looking for some clickbait. let me tell you about Kwame the Grifter and Carmanos the Grifter and LeDuff the Clown. Let me clear my throat. Not because I ever do anything inside this office. I pontificate and nobody reads it. Well, here's the deal, dude. What's more ridiculous than a reporter writing a report about a reporter's report that's a week old? Go away. Retire, Brian. Nobody's reading. Nobody. I get people asking me who the fuck you are. They don't even know who the fuck you are. You should retire and let Nancy Caffer have the page because she's earned it and she works hard and she's out there. I don't think she gives two shits about my opinion, and I don't even really care. But she should be running it. And the word is, Brian, you're next on the layoff list anyway.
Well, maybe that's a
So why do other people more talented than you fall on their sword? Time to go. And if you want it, you want to do it. I know all about it, bro. And you know what I'm talking about. All about it. So that was part one. You never, ever steal a guy's shit and then dump on him at the same time. The reason it's not done in the industry is not because there's some code. It's because I will fucking answer you. You narrow-shouldered, pear-bottomed twerp. Fuck you. You do the stories about the police. You do the stories on the Sky. You're the poodle who sold us out on that fucking hockey arena, and you didn't have the balls to say it was a bad deal till some out-of-towner did. Remember when I did it 4 years ago? They pulled it off the air. You weren't anywhere. You hang around the rich man's table thinking you're an equal. You're a lapdog. They laugh at you. Nobody reads. Get rid of you and hire 3 young people. Nobody's reading. Guess what? Karen and Bob and I and even Mannequin Joe, we are wiping your ass with your face. Nothing. When's the last time you did something anybody read? I'll tell you when. Last week when you did mine. Did you know Pete Carmanos had done that, Brian? See, because you hang out with the billionaires. You're the guy in the know. You don't know nothing. It's obvious. Let Nancy have it. I know, look, there's 24 Cracker Jack reporters. They could work anywhere. Wall Street Journal, they could. I know them. I talk to them. To a person. We're handcuffed. You won't let us do it. What needs to be done and what the people are craving, which is the truth. Right?
Could you tell us how you really feel, Charlie?
Yeah. Fuck you.
There you go.
Do it again. I got more. And you guys just go to DeadlineDetroit.com. It's all there for you. And find out how did these text messages work? How did the Free Press get those? Why was a non-disclosure agreement signed between the city and the whistleblower? Did the Free Press already have those and kept their mouth shut and let the broke-ass city pay $8 million knowing full well they're going to publish them anyway? You want to answer it, Brian? You're a muckety-muck over there. Sort of an ethical dark hole. Huh?
He won't answer.
Maybe he will.
DFWC.
What is that?
Don't F with Charlie.
I didn't F with them.
I didn't say they did. I'm just saying, after all of that.
Dude, you know,
know your limits.
I've been taking the abuse from assholes like this.
I know, Charlie, but you know
Do you
what?
remember the Frozen guy?
Yes,
in the
I remember
elevator?
that. Yes.
And these fucking guys are doing stories like somehow I did something
But
wrong
Charlie, this
about
is what
getting
you
the
have to
guy
understand.
out.
When the cream rises to the top, and that to me is an act of desperation. And so you have to take things like that as a compliment. Now, it's a low blow, but it's a compliment. If you were not a threat, if you did not make people feel some type of way, then you wouldn't be an issue. But you are an issue. So that's a compliment.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you know I know.
So send him some flowers.
I like it.
Send him some flowers. Yeah, and say thank you. And keep it moving.
I like it.
Okay.
Honestly, I like it.
Okay, then you should
Thanks,
do that.
Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks for the mention. I can't believe I'm going to clip it. I got spitballed by the Free Press. Come on. Come on. You know what you need? I challenge you. I challenge you. Go out into the city and write a story. I challenge you. You know what, that goofy tennis sweater you wrap around your neck like you're Eli Nastasi in the fucking Cologne commercial? Come on. Get on it. You couldn't find Gratiot and Shane if I got an Uber for you.
Mac and Bewick.
Mac and Bewick. Chicken Joe went out there. You going to tell us what's what about this Rhodes deal? This Rhodes deal. I'm the arbiter of everything smart.
All right, so now you're giving him too much time on
Yeah,
the
I know,
show.
but
This is valuable. This is valuable time. We can't just waste it.
Well, that's all I got then.
All right. Thank you, Charlie.
Sorry if I made you mad.
No, you didn't. I just still feel left out, but that's okay.
Oh, by the way, Karen's like, on Let It Rip. Like, why are they just gonna fucking hire you or what?
Do you realize I looked at some of my memories pop up on my social media?
Yeah.
I've been doing Let It Rip for like 9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Did they even give you a
time.
coffee mug? You don't get paid for it.
No.
So, how about it? Kev over there. Kev.
I'll get you a coffee mug.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin.
That'd be
Roseboro.
something.
Fox 2. Do it, dude. See, they know. That's why you're on all the time now, because Hules and Charlie are smart. They know what you are. It works. I just hire her. I don't mind. I won't be offended. If you
We can
steal,
share.
you
No, we
steal
don't
my,
Give her a job.
my bub. My wife's going to be mad. She's my bub. You're my bud.
I know. I was going to say, I came on the show as a guest and Charlie kidnapped me.
I
I haven't left since.
asked you to marry me.
This is what sex trafficking is like. They won't let you go. But Amy and I are friends, so it's cool.
Yes. Say hey to Tim. All right? See you next week. Remember, everybody, try to love one another. See you, Joey. See you, Bobby.
See ya.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Pop a bottle. Hold up. If you suck and swallow. Smell that marijuana, they gon' follow. Throwing money on her like she won a lotto. Pussy must be serious. Hold up. Scared of heights, come face your fears. Hold up. Do it just like Nikki, gone and bend it over. Say she never smoked, I turned her to a stoner. Smoking now. Young nigga, but I'm ready. Oh, foreign girls call me sexy. And white girls give me Becky. But first I gotta roll this joint, baby. Hold up. We them boys. Hold up. We them boys. Hold up. We making noise. Hold up. We them boys. We them boys. We making noise. We them boys.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Hold up. You drive me crazy. Number one, bitch, you can't replace me. Leader club, these hoes be trying to chase me. You got an ass so fat, let's make a baby. And another damn, I'm smoking weed in my Mercedes. Car. Hold up, these niggas broke, these niggas lazy. Man, they money slim, they acting shady. I'm in my brand new car, who wanna race? Oh, bitch, you ain't call my phone, so why you showing up? Never. I'm taking them shots on my niggas, they loaded up. Man, on the low, all these hoes be acting so material. Hold up, man, did you see her interior? Hold up, we them boys. We them boys. We making noise. Hold up, damn. Hold up. We them boys. We them boys. We making noise. We them boys.